Oh, yeah, here. Since this was probably brought up by Ethan Klein during their debate, here's Hasan Piker calling a variety of people inbred. Hold on. I am making a pledge to try and no longer call reactionaries inbred in the future. Here is a 5-minute and 25-second compilation. Ethan lies that Hasan calls Jews inbred. In reality, Hasan just calls right-wingers inbred regardless of their ethnicity. Let's take a look.
You think Joe Manchin would get this level of clout and prominence if he was just another inbred hick Republican senator from West Virginia? Of course not.
I feel like this inbred Nazi didn't just have some le fiery rhetoric against immigration.
And that's precisely why we brought in some of the worst inbred tech CEOs you've ever goddamn seen, like Palmer Luckey.
Schizo monkey, or simply the fact that you describe people at odds with you as an inbred right-winger. Well, considering your name is Schizo Monkey, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you might be an inbred right-winger. You got a toothless, inbred, racist, white supremacist piece of shit.
And then it's like, okay, then what's the point of this other than just like purely hating them for being immigrants and for being black?
That's it.
There is none.
Yeah. Yeah, and those like 4 languages too. That's the other part where they're like, oh, these are some dumb, uneducated, lazy cat eaters. And it's like, dude, you are literally inbred. You are so inbred. You look like a human version of one of those little teacup poodles that we saw earlier. And you're over here talking about how lesser than these people are. They're speaking 4 goddamn languages. They're working hard. They just want to survive. And you're over here lazy and angry as And I'm really glad that they showed up in massive numbers as counter protesters showed up in massive numbers, outweighing the psychopathic inbred fascists. If the goddamn Eurocucks can do it when they've been fighting one another, even though they're inbred as and have literally been each other's cousins for hundreds of goddamn years, if they can do it, how the fuck can't we do it? You think your inbred, hick, Angloid grandpappy actually came here legally? The difference between legal immigration and illegal immigration is paperwork, you dumb You just mean white. How dare you? You chinless, inbred hicks coming in here being like, my grandpappy came here under just means. Okay, you don't understand, brother. He has the perfect school shooter profile. He looks like a school shooter. He walks like a school shooter, talks like a school shooter, did a shooting. He's got that inbred stank on him.
Inbred is...
Yeah, dude, totally. These countries are so much better without migrants coming in. Yeah, we should just keep it to all the racist inbred douchebags like you. Looking like the old royals in the way that they are so inbred and so goddamn ugly.
You can make it up to me by teaching me your technique. You, a regular heavyweight.
Bro, this dude looks so inbred. Like, honestly, he does also look like a British bully phenotype, okay?
I won't hurt you.
Oh, God, he's so inbred.
Yes, dude, yes. I'm body shaming the Nazi. 3 minutes in, dude's talking about race mixing. I'm calling him an inbred dumbass.
That's weird as hell, bro. He's weird as hell. He's so inbred looking, too. That's sus. Dude, I got debated by an inbred hick, bro. Don't... Holy shit, you won't survive this? Yeah, it's really messed up. Make fun of him. He's inbred. I will always make fun of him. There is an underlying mythology that your dumbass, racist, inbred, hick parents have force-fed to you. That's how white supremacy works. That's how racism works. It's pure copium for losers. In the minds of Americans, they're both barbarians to begin with, okay? Every inbred hick literally sees no distinction. They look at China, they're like, they're Asian, I don't understand. They look at India, they're like, they're brown, they're Asian, and also maybe terrorists, I don't understand. Thinking that just because you came up with an opinion, that it must be valuable. It must mean something to everyone around us. So people must listen to your dumbass, inbred, hick, backwards takes and go, actually, there's probably some utility to me hearing this, when in most circumstances, there isn't. Sometimes it's okay to just be a dumbass, inbred hick, for example, and your opinions might just be wrong and incorrect.
The quartering, as you know, he's definitely...
Anyway, the rest of it was Ethan, but okay, I'm starting to think it's actually the opposite of anti-Semitism that you only use it against Jewish people once. No, I've called like settler terrorists of the Orthodox variety, and it's like that's the only thing that they can hold on to, and it's like utterly marginal, it's utterly irrelevant, and that's like the only thing that you can point to. It is like it doesn't even matter. It's just everyone of that reactionary flavor I'm gonna have smoke for, right? It's so stupid. And a big part of the reason why I use inbred a lot against fascists, whether they are Jewish fascists or anti-Jewish fascists, doesn't matter, is because fascism
at its heart, at its core, has purity politics. And purity means inbreeding. That's the reason. You feel me? That's it. Yeah, you were saying that the people that were throwing out aid, that's where it came from. Douchebags in the background. These inbred douchebags in the background.
Like these are just dudes standing back
nation
there.
Entirely
like,
comprised of messy.
And this is an ongoing like joke with this community. These are just 9 dudes. Just I don't know what the they're doing. It looks like they're doing charity or something. It looks like they've got water or boxes or something, like they're helping. And he's going, "Oh, look at these inbred." It's like, bro, who are you? What are you? Who are you? Like, how dare you?
Guys, the Israeli police is investigating the attack on the Gaza aid convoy.
Israeli security forces are paid to stop this happening.
He was doing Hasbara. He was doing propaganda defending benign dudes doing charity. Turns out the benign dudes doing charity were terrorists.
That could not.
They were literally terrorists that were destroying aid.
Or would not, but clearly did not prevent Israeli settlers attacking an aid convoy yesterday from the West Bank bound for Gaza, where, say aid agencies, hundreds of thousands of civilians face famine.
But during the unloading and loading, settlers attacked these trucks, destroying the products and burning them in a systematic act of sabotage.
A continuation of images seen yesterday as settlers destroyed food at the same crossing point.
Who's supposed to be offended by being called inbred anyway? Yeah. Nazis better than inbred, to be honest? No, we're not conceding on that. Don't concede to your opposition's cynical framework, chatters. Come on, you should know better by now. Anyway, these are people who want to defend Israel, but they know they can't defend Israel, so they launch attacks. That's all it is. Okay? That's all this is. They got nothing. They got no emotion. They know they've lost the conversation. And what they're trying to do is at the very least like pressure people into deplatforming me or like no longer cooperating with me, as though that's going to do anything to like, you know, people's attitudes. It's not. It doesn't even work as a warning. In the past, at least, when you could like when you could get a scalp, like a high profile person that falls out of favor because you just like kept bullying them and kept calling them an anti-Semite over and over again, right? In the past, it used to mean something, because the rest of the people, that the other onlookers would see something like that and go, "Ooh, I should think twice. I care about my career. I should think twice about like, what I say about Israel, right? I should probably not criticize Israel. I just don't want to draw the enmity of these folks." And what's interesting is AIPAC operates in a similar manner. AIPAC operates in an identical manner, right? Like they try to take out people like Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush, like they did successfully, so that all the other Democrats or any other politician really thinks twice before they say anything about the beautiful, most moral nation state of Israel. So that's it. That's all it is. They're like nuclear grade weaponizing cancel culture, and it's not working anymore for 2 reasons. One, because a lot of people are frustrated. They're done with cancel culture anyway. They're totally done with it. They're like, nobody likes this. Please stop doing it. Who cares, right? But as far as the other reason why it doesn't work anymore is because they've deployed it so much. It's been deployed so much, right? Hasan Piker was the person who convinced OJ to do it. Hasan Piker regularly steals kids' lunch money despite being a millionaire. Hasan Piker puts backwards satanic messages in episodes of Fear and. Hasan Piker runs a network of child pickpockets in Romania. I'm being outed. I'm being outed for all the crimes that I haven't committed yet, but I will. Damn, I never saw you. It doesn't matter if rapes happen, quote, in full context, and I respect you more after hearing that clip. People are crazy and malicious. Yep. In any case, this is not the opportunity to like run through all the common like hit pieces, just we're going to move on. The only reason why I showed this, and I probably shouldn't even spend any time on this stuff. It's just like, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It doesn't work. Right. But the reason why I showed it is because like a lot of people are losing their minds over the Dr. Abdul El-Sayed thing. Right. And he has actually gained a little bit more prominence in this three-way Senate race in the Democratic primaries, right? And he has a really good shot at winning. He's backed by Bernie Sanders as well. And obviously, AIPAC would hate to have another anti-Zionist senator on the Democratic side. So they're going to try to do everything they possibly can. They're going to try to smear him. They're going to try to attack him unjustifiably. But I do think that this will have a positive, this will cause negative polarizing, right? This will cause people to learn about who Dr. Abdul El-Sayed is. And I see this working in his favor. As long as he stands strong and defends his positions and is capable of recentering the conversation back to his agenda, you know, alleviating the economic pressures that everyday Americans experience and demanding that we end our senseless wars all around the world, man, you know, I think he's going to do great. In my experience, now this is, the thing is, there's a long road ahead, but I mean, he's so solid. He is Grand Platinum without the red flags, right? He's Grand Platinum without the red flags. He has the background. He like ran for governor against Gretchen Whitmer. Unfortunately lost, but regardless, he has like the experience of running. And he was the Medicare for All gubernatorial slate. So he can also bench 3 plates, which is crazy, right? But and this is an important point that Jasper Nathaniel is also bringing up. New potential Dem 2028ers are distancing themselves from AIPAC. Booker won't take AIPAC cash anymore, part of a pledge to cut out PAC dollars. Shapiro, Bashar, Emmanuel also say no. And there's more. AIPAC says it won't let pro-Israel voices be silenced, right? But we all know that these guys that are chirping right now saying, oh, we don't want that, they're saying that because they know the association with Israel or the association with AIPAC is toxic. But it's not enough. And Jasper Nathaniel says, the bare minimum commitment for any candidate hoping to earn the actually progressive vote, not another dollar for Israel, not for the Iron Dome, not for anything. We're not going back. And it's true. This should be a good test case, because as the environment shifts, okay, because this is unheard of, right? Democrats saying, oh, we're not going to take AIPAC money, like openly coming out and saying that is actually a recognition that the information landscape has changed so much that even the most centrist, annoying right-wing Democrats are recognizing that reality and addressing it, right? Which means there's a lot more room for growth. There is a lot more room for other Democrats to showcase their bona fides, to showcase that they are real. They are actually invested in stopping this bloodshed, right? A point Laura Freeman, D.C., made in our coverage of AIPAC's growing toxicity back in December. Rejecting AIPAC may be turning into the new litmus test for Dems, but candidates can just as easily use it to give cover to pro-Israel policy stances. So I noticed this as well. I mean, I've talked about this quite a bit. Like, it's very easy to say, oh, I'm not going to take money from AIPAC, especially in this current media landscape, right? But that doesn't actually prove anything to me. I need to hear you say the words, I believe Israel has done a genocide. I believe Israel is an apartheid state, and I am not going to give a single dollar to Israel. The pledge is simple, okay? No defensive weapons, no offensive weapons, of course. Enough. Enough is enough. This is the bare minimum, because that is how you successfully shut off the money faucet, right? Because AIPAC is very good at reading the room. They know better than many of these other Democrats do, right? What is this? Left-wing influencer downplays Cuba blackouts, worsening shortages, people are partying. Hasan Parker's trip to Cuba puts him at odds with the Trump administration framing of a severe energy collapse, hitting 11 million people. This is another hit piece. Hasan Parker, progressive media personality. There are rolling blackouts that take place throughout the day, all around the country, but today's a beautiful day out here. People are partying. People are partying in the fucking streets. I don't know if it's an island mindset. Yeah, this is a testament to the Cuban population's resilience in spite of all of the circumstances that they have to exist in. I don't understand why this is like, this is not me downplaying the blackouts at all. It's just a reflection of the reality on the ground. I like that they're doing a multifaceted, multi-angle attack here, Where first I was like, too aggressive. And now it's like I'm not aggressive enough. I'm downplaying the blackouts. Piker, who supported self-declared progressives like Senator Bernie Sanders, New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani, praised the Cubans for their endurance. Wait, they also say it. Yeah. These people's resilience is remarkable. There are rolling blackouts that take place throughout the day, every day, all around the country, right? 11 million people. Parker's descriptions come as Cuba's communist regime finds itself choked off from access to energy imports after U.S. operation in Venezuela, result in the capture of... It's very interesting that the title itself buries the lead. Like, they do actually show my comments fully. I always find that very strange. According to the Department of State, Cuba began to experience energy shortages shortly afterwards. Understand that Cuba has largely survived on the basis of subsidies. The Maduro regime was providing them fuel, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said in a press event at the White House. So the reason why Cuba's electricity grid was already in collapse before Maduro was captured, it was already in collapse. The reason why things are as bad as they are is because they have an economic model that does not work. It's not functional. President Donald Trump has characterized the energy crisis as severe and said he believes public unrest has strengthened the U.S. influence over the island. I mean, they're openly saying the quiet part out loud. They're saying they're destabilizing the island by causing massive suffering, including deaths, as a matter of fact. It's unbelievable. I do believe I'll be the honor of taking Cuba. That's a big honor. It's a very weakened nation right now. They were for a long time, Trump told reporters last week. Trump did not expand on what he meant by taking the island. Piker's characterizations, however, contrast sharply with the way the administration framed the on-the-ground circumstances on the island. A lot of the info that you see and hear on the island is like directly coming from, like, most of the time, National Endowment for Democracy Foundation-backed individuals, State Department propaganda, things like that, Piker said, referring to a pro-democracy group. It's very difficult to get information out of here, even though it's so close. They're just chilling. Cubans, they vibe. Piker did not respond to a request for a comment from Fox News Digital. You know what? They're only shooting themselves in the foot with all the coverage of your trip on Cuba, because before you went to Cuba, barely anyone was talking about what was happening, and now they won't shut up about it. Let us hope it opens the eyes of those unaware. So one thing I will say about the Cuban situation is that for the last week, I didn't even know that this was happening initially, but for the last week, right, there was all this talk about, like, the hotels being the only thing that's powered, right? And it's a dichotomy that I addressed as well. It's something that I also saw and was horrified by. Tourism, unfortunately, is one of the most, like, anti-communist industries that you can engage in, and yet it's the only one that is a lifeline for the Cuban economy right now. But it's true. It's true. Like, the reality is, it's very difficult to create a communist system with simply just tourism. It just doesn't work that way, especially because people on the island are objectively infinitely poorer than the people that are coming into the island, right? Tourists that are coming into the island. The problem is, the only reason why tourism is the last remaining sector that brings in foreign capital in the island is because their exports and their imports are completely controlled by American sanctions, secondary sanctions on countries that dare work with Cuban producers, right? When they have nothing to trade as a direct consequence of America working tirelessly to make it impossible for Cuba to trade with other countries, the only thing they have remaining is tourism, right? That's absolute. The only problem is that government isn't allowed to control tourism profits, which is their primary export. That's not true. That's not true. I mean, it can be done in an ethical manner, but it's difficult. You're wrong about how tourism works. It functions as a natural resource export. I mean, sure, but like working in the sugar cane fields, or having heavy industry or having light industry and being able to export those things that you generate is much easier to do and spreads the wealth around a lot better than having this visible inconsistency with, like, socialist ideology, where you are always going to have people who are just, like, more wealthy that you're getting your population to serve the interest of in real time. I'm just saying, in general, like, you can do it in an ethical manner. You can do it in a communist manner. But having said that, as far as, like, industries goes, as far as money generation, as far as revenue generation, it's like one of the ones that just does look bad, right? The inconsistency literally just comes from private ownership. They can be tourism without exploitation, just as hogwash. Okay. If tourism, I mean, look, Cuba is different than Hawaii. People in Hawaii will say sometimes, don't come to Hawaii. Don't, participate in tourism in Hawaii, right? Cuba doesn't say that because Cubans are desperate. It's the only thing they have that remains. If there was, like the way to look at it is like this, right? There's this social contract that the Cuban government has with its people where, we'll take care of you. You'll have free health care. You'll never pay a penny for your education. And you'll be able to, uplift yourself. You'll have a roof over your head, right? And unfortunately, if there was a diverse array of different productive forces on the island and like regular imports and exports, tourism would not be tourism would not feel like this massive divergence from socialist principles, egalitarian principles. Okay, that's it. If people's living standards were up to par, tourism is exclusively a negative to equality under capitalism, just as it is for all private resource extraction. A big part of the reason why, one part of the reason why, in the cities especially, that that people rose up against Batista was because of this reality. I mean, you had the casinos run by gangsters, like straight up American, the American mafia, and they were exploiting people. They were forcing people into working in horrible conditions for wealthy tourists that were coming onto the island. Right? You can do it in an ethical manner, and I'm certain that Cuba, for the longest time, was able to do it. The problem, on the other hand, however, is that as it stands currently, the island is suffering, and that juxtaposition is very clear. That's part of the reason why people are making so much like insane propaganda. However, there's one key aspect of this that must be called into question, that must be exposed. There's this massive contradiction, right? And that is the fact that America has designed this. It's the American design that makes it so that tourism is the only functioning sector on the island. And not only is it tourism that's functioning, it's tourism in the hands of private owners that own these hotels that get special access allowed by the American government, because that's the level of control that America has over this island